Abby, a registered kinesiologist and manager at Stonebridge Community Services. I've got a quick little mobility class for you today. Short, sweet, but highly effective. All you need is a safe spot to exercise, a little bit of room to move. You might want a chair or the countertop close by, or even a wall will do to help with your balance as we move through these exercises. When we talk about mobility and our ability to move the way we want to be able to move, the best thing we can do is start from a position of good posture. So let's settle in. Make sure your feet are underneath your hip bones. Your toes are pointing straight ahead. Check in with the knees, make sure they're not locked in place. Give them just a little soft wiggle. Good, now we're gonna tighten up the tummy. Think about lifting your belly button a little bit and lowering your tailbone. And then create as much length all the way up your spine to the very top of your head. Good. Position your head so your chin's just about parallel to the floor and your gaze is about 5-6 feet ahead of you. Take your shoulders, roll them back and leave them down, nice and relaxed. Take a few breaths right here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now we're going to start with an easy upper body torso twist. We're going to just gently lead with the hand, sort of slide that hand up your thigh to your hip bone. Elbow goes back, followed by the shoulder, and then your head. Other side. Gently turning your body, elbow to the wall behind you, followed by your shoulder, followed by your head. Just a nice, easy, gentle twist. Keeping the belly button lifted, and just working on that spinal mobility. Just that easy, gentle torso twist, like you're checking your blind spot while you're driving. Excellent. One more time to each side. And back to center. Continuing to work the mobility in our shoulders, we're just gonna roll one and then the other, rolling it back, gradually making that a little bit bigger, including more and more of your arm until you're swimming backwards. Reaching as big as you can and taking your shoulder through as much range of motion as possible without any pain. So if you start to experience any pain with any of these exercises, I want you to take it back a notch and just go back to that spot where there wasn't any pain. Good. One more time on each side. And then bring the hands up to the heart and reaching forward one and then the other. Perfect. I want you to feel that full extension coming from your shoulders. That little extra reach, like you're trying to get something just out of reach. And you should feel a nice little tug, a little pull, a little stretch in behind the shoulder there. Good. Now I want you to take your reach out to the side. And again, it's as if you're trying to get something you just can't quite get. And then the other side. And this time you might feel a little stretch, a little tug, a little pull in the front of your shoulder. We tend to be tight in that area. So it's good to just stretch that out. Good. Last time. And now we're going to reach overhead wherever you can. So as best as you're able, get that full stretch. This time you might feel a little tug, a little pull under the arm into sort of those lats, into that muscle under there. We also tend to get a little tight through there. So it's good to stretch these out. Get that full range of motion. Now, if this is painful for you, if you've got something going on with your shoulders, again, just take it back to that spot that's not painful. Maybe you keep the reach a little bit lower. You decide what's right for you. Great. One more. Fantastic. Bring it down. We're going to take the feet just a little bit wider now. Continuing or going back to those torso twists, but now we're going to include a little bit more of the lower body as well. So check in, make sure the knees are not locked. We want to give them a little wiggle. We want to make sure that the abs are engaged. So lift the belly button a little bit, lower the tailbone, keep the chest high, and the chin just parallel to the floor. And now we're gonna rotate both shoulders, turning our chest wherever we can, and then back to the other side. Good. Now this may affect your balance. You might feel a little wobbly, so just be cautious. Use your countertop or your back of a chair, something sturdy if you need it. Perfect. And you're just twisting to the point where it feels like that's enough, not to any point of pain. Keeping your spine long and keeping your belly button lifted. You're probably feeling some lower abdominal muscles working hard here. I hope so. Good. Make sure you're still breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Fantastic. One more rotation to each side. And then bring it back to center. Perfect. Get your feet back underneath you. We're going to focus on some hip mobility. We're going to start by just lifting one knee. Wherever it feels okay, lower and lift the other. We're not going to rush through this exercise because the slower we go, the more we challenge our balance. So we might as well get a little bang for our buck, working on our mobility, working on our flexibility, but also our balance. Holding strong through the core. Trying to keep the hips nice and level on this exercise so we're not tilting or rocking side to side, but trying to keep the hips level. Perfect. One more. Other side. And now we're going to add some rotation. So we're going to lift that knee up and scoop it around and down. Other side, lift the knee up, around and down. Good. So the knee points out to the side as we rotate and then points forward as we finish. So trying to get that full hip mobility as best as you can. Maybe your knee doesn't come or your thigh doesn't come right up to horizontal. That's okay. Just work with what you got. If you got to keep it lower for now, no problem. Work with what you got, wherever you're at. Staying strong through the middle, using your support as you need it. Awesome. Now we're going to change directions with those hip rotations. We're going to turn from the hip, point that knee to the side, pick it up, and bring it in. Other way, other side, I should say. Perfect. Turn it out, pick it up, and bring it in. Good. And you're feeling something in the hips, I'm sure. I am. Excellent. Good. One more. Perfect. Good. Now, a lot of the reason we want to keep our hips nice and mobile and flexible and moving is so that we can do the things we want to be able to do every day. One of those most important things is to be able to sit down and stand up, to be able to pick things up off the floor, to be able to get in and out of bed, in and out of the car, on and off the toilet. And so in order to do that, we've got to be able to bend at the hips, and we've got to have the strength to do it. So we're going to practice here. You're going to bend at the hips. First things first, bend at the hips. You can do it because you were just lifting that knee and bending at the hips. Now we're going to bend at the hips and stick the butt out towards the wall behind you. And then stand up tall. Bend at the hips. Keep your knees over top of your ankles. And stand up tall. Good. So if I'm doing it from the side, okay, bending the hips, keeping my knees over my ankles, and standing up tall. So if I drop something in the shower, I just bend down, pick up the soap, and I'm good. If I need to get the remote control off the floor, I can bend down, pick it up, I'm good. right? Keeping a nice, long, flat back. Feeling the strength that it requires in through the top of the thighs, even the back of the thighs and the glutes. Awesome. Noticing how much balance it takes as well. Great. One more should be good. And up. Perfect. Now you've got your chair, you've got your wall, and you might want it for this next exercise. We're going to take one foot behind into a split stance. Okay? You're going to keep that heel off the floor here. Back heel stays off the floor. And we're working as if we're an elevator, just going straight up and straight down. Again, the idea is that we keep this front knee over top of that ankle. Using your support for balance. Start small. And then maybe, as you feel more confident, you take it a little lower. As if you're bending down to get something off the floor and coming back up again. Or maybe you're down on the floor. Maybe you're down playing with the grandkids and you need to get up. So you find yourself on one knee and you gotta stand up. Good. 2 more on this side. And 1. Perfect. Good. Get your feet underneath you. Give your legs a little break. Same thing. Other side. Keep that heel off the floor. Bend. Start small. Get used to it. Get your balance. Maybe go a little deeper. But remember, it's straight up and down, so we're not leaning forward into it. We're going straight down and straight up, keeping this front knee over top of that front ankle. Otherwise, you're going to start to experience some pain in that front knee. And we don't want that. Excellent. Just a couple more on this side. We're cruising through these exercises. Last one. I said we were working head to toe today. We've made our way down to the ankles. So you know we're almost there. Awesome. We're going to work on our ankle flexibility because if our ankles don't move, if they're tight and stiff, then it becomes very difficult to walk properly. So first thing you're going to do is make sure you've got good posture, of course. And then keeping the balls of your feet on the floor, you're just going to lift one heel. Good. And then we're going to switch. So this one goes down, this one comes up. And you want to have enough flexibility in your ankles that you can come right up onto the ball of that foot. Kind of pressing the front of the ankle forward. And switch. And switch. And this will take some balance. Perfect. And maybe you're feeling a little strength through the lower legs. You're feeling those muscles working. You're going to really feel them here as we take both heels to the floor. Use your wall, use your supports as you need to, because we're going to lift both heels off the floor, rising up onto our toes, and lower. Lift and lower. 2 more. Straight up and down for 1. Good. Soften up your knees, because we're going to lift the toes of one foot and then the other. So we're going to tap these toes out. Perfect. Trying to get not just your toes off the floor, but also the ball of that foot. The entire forefoot comes off the floor. And you shift your weight side to side. Just breathing. Awesome. Keep it going. This is a real easy exercise to incorporate into your day. Maybe when you're sitting and watching TV, you can do this sitting down. Maybe while you're waiting in line at the grocery store or the bank, just tap your toes a little bit. Awesome. All right, in 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Good. Straightening back up. We're going to take one foot in front of the other. We're going to finish with a few More dynamic type stretches. You're going to take this foot in front of the other heel to the floor, toes to the ceiling. We're going to hinge at the hips. You're going to get a nice stretch down the back of this straight leg, rising up, and then switch. Heel to the floor, toes pull back towards the ceiling, hinge at the hips, nice long flat back, scoop it up. Again, working some flexibility into the back of that leg, working some balance. Awesome. One more on each side. Other side. Perfect. Good. Bring the arms down. Take a deep breath. Bring the arms up. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale. Bring your hands into your low back. So we're going to just kind of press down, flatten out the skin in the low back, or sort of tilt the hips forward slightly. It's not a big movement. Just a little hip tilt. Try to open up through the front of the hip flexors, and then try to bring your elbows a little closer towards each other at the back. And feel that stretch in the front of the chest, in the front of the shoulders. And just breathe here. Perfect. Release. And finally, last sort of full body stretch here. We're going to take the left hand or the right, it doesn't matter, whichever hand you want. You're going to reach it up to the ceiling as high as you can. You're going to press that same foot down into the floor. I want you to put lots of energy right down into the floor. Use the other hand to just gently pull and extend. So you're just trying to create as much length all the way down this side of the body as possible. And release. Same thing, other side. Arm goes up, foot goes down into the floor. Create that opposition there. Good. You can use this hand to gently grab at the wrist. Extend. Breathe. And release. Well done. Congratulations. Thanks for joining me. Hope you had fun.